Everybody, this is part two to the three-issue story arc in Fathom, where Witchblade Serpazini and Tomb Raider Lara Croft are in in it, I guess. Yeah. In the other video, the previous video, I explained of like how I didn't know that that these guys were actually in there because I got the definitive issue where they did the story, but they took these two people out, so I had no idea that they were even in there. And these single issues are still pretty new to me. Um, I just looked at issue 11 after the last video as well. I can't seem to find. I thought I had issue 10, but I don't have issue 10. I'll probably find new stuff in there too. At the end of issue 11, I seen that they had an interview about this story arc coming up. All right, before I get into that, real quick, says Frank Mastromerrill was interviewing Michael Turner while they were playing Crash Team Racing. And if you guys remember Crash Bandicoot, he was like Sony's PlayStation's mascot, kind of like Mario Kart or Mario was to Nintendo. I think Bandicoot has had a small resurgence in the past few years. I don't know. Uh, so Frank Mastromerrill says, "We're here playing Crash Team Racing, one of the best racing games ever." And Michael Turner agrees and he says, "And the most fun. I understand that game came out in 1999. I have no doubt that it is a fun game. I never played it, but the most fun racing game to me was Mario Kart Double Dash. It came out in 2003. I just wanted to add that in there. Uh, all right, so on with the interview. Michael Turner was saying he had this underwater story of that included Witchblade. He had it for a while because he wanted to put her in a new environment and see how the Witchblade, because the Witchblade adapts to new environments. And I imagine a few years later he's doing Fathom and she's already underwater. So to get those two to get put together, it's kind of simple for him because he already had the outline, sounds like. And then to include Lara Croft Tomb Raider. In the first video game, it said she had to deal with Atlantis and some of the theories behind it. And Fathom deals with some of the legends of Atlantis. So that's how they got Laura in there as well. In that first issue, I don't think they talked about anything about Atlantis, so who knows? But oh yeah, also it sounded like this was going to be a fun summer event, where they'd release it April for the first issue, then May, then take June off, and then for the finale would be July, to because they were going to add more pages to it. And it seemed like there was a lot of excitement behind this, and summer events are cool. I remember uh, looking forward I still look forward to summer, but I remember when I was younger, it seemed awesome. Like movies were getting hyped up. It's like, all right, and all these things to look forward to. And in fact, that's when my introduction to Michael Turner was in summer. Beginning, I got this in June, so it was beginning of summer. And yeah, you just take it home. You look at the cool artwork. I mean, well, you read the story, and then go back, look at the cool artwork. You're really excited about comics, and you just want to, I don't know, then just start drawing and looking forward to the next issue, as yeah. So a lot of excitement. Um, okay, so and then before I get into the second issue, I wanted to go on another little tangent real quick. At the end of the previous video, I was going over the letter section, and in there's a girl. She was saying she caught the last bit of Michael Turner. He was being interviewed on eruptor.com, and yeah, I didn't know that this was even a thing. I looked at the website. There is no website. It's not there anymore. It's probably when that this came out in 2000. So I imagine it was one of the .com bubble bursting tragedies that happened, that took this under, is my guess. But like, you check out what it says here. It says original stories about hot girls, live chats, webcams, cool stuff. It sounds like it was trying to be a YouTube before, like 20 years before YouTube got to be like live chats and all that. And yeah, it was obviously geared towards the males, which I'm not opposed to. Just pointing it out, I guess. And it says, okay, so this model here, her name is Kenya. It says her favorite video game is Witchblade. I was not aware that Witchblade had a video game, so that's another rabbit hole I'll probably go down, check out that stuff. I know Darkness had a couple video games. All right, so let's get into the issue. Very cool drawing. I wish I could see this in black and white. I love Peter Steigerwald's coloring. It's just, a little bit tough to see all the line work. I mean, I could imagine it pretty good, but and this is cool too. I like his coloring that he added, almost like little feathering to this to make it look like more of a headdress that they would give to the someone of importance, which this gal certainly is, because she's the heavy of the comic, the main villain. This is an awesome pose. She's on her tiptoes, I guess, like if she were wearing heels, but she's not wearing heels, and I don't know, it just makes the pose seem even that much cooler. And then, okay, so this is her dead son Taurus. He was killed in the first story arc, and by Cannon. Cannon's over here, and so she has these guys in each sphere. She's draining Cannon's life of it to bring her dead son back to life, and she says she's talking, all this smack the whole time to Cannon. One thing though that was funny to me is she's like, it's vitally important that you know this. You alone won't be enough to bring him back. For that, I'll be using your little female accomplice. She's talking about Aspen Matthews. And yeah, so she's taking his molecules apart to bring her son back. But then we go over here. She's all giddy and happy at first. That's a pretty cool upshot drawing of her face. But she's not happy with what's happening. She's like, no, what's happened here? This is an abomination. I've made a horrible mistake. Like, what happened to the whole, it's vitally important that you alone won't be enough to bring him back? It's like, what, she's already given up in the middle of the thing. It's like, don't you need the other person, like, before you know it's a mistake? I have no idea, but I found that funny. Okay, yeah, and quick interruption here is I have a comic book coming out. It'll be launching in about a month on Kickstarter and Fund My Comic. I'll leave the link to, so this is one of the pages that I got done. I'll leave the link to the sign up page so you'll be notified. If you click it, you'll be notified when the campaign launches. And I would make one for Fund My Comic as well, but Fund My Comic doesn't do pre-launch pages. So I'm still working on the launch page and the comic book as well. I just kind of thought I'd show some of the artwork. You could see a lot of my I do like a lot of erasing, and then even when I'm inking, I'll add like a lot of white out for corrections. But I don't know, that's all part of the process, my process anyway. Put a lot of detail to try to make this guy have a fancy shirt and make him look kind of menacing there. And he's got a fancy phone. And also the dialogue isn't the full dialogue. I mean, that's not the ending dialogue that I'm going to have on there. I'm going to kind of like do a little bit of adjustments on there, but I like putting dialogue on the pages. I don't do that now because my colorist keeps catching up to me. But okay, and I just also wanted to say that this is volume 1 of Occult Descent. It will be a catch-up tier, so you won't, even if you get volume 2, you could get volume 1 and you'll be caught up to the story. First issue has 50 pages. Second issue will have about 64. if anything, I'll add more to it. But 64 pages right now. So, all right, back to this story. We get to Aspen and Sarah. They're just kind of Aspen's waking up, and Witchblade Girl is kind of filling her in on the story. And I thought I'd go in real quick because this is where they start. All the pages were the same in this book, but this is where they start to kind of change them a little bit. And like I said, this is the definitive edition that I got years ago. So I thought I read all the Fathom comics, but I didn't know everything about it, I guess. Anyway, yeah, they made this panel bigger, and they cropped out Sarah, and then they just moved some of the panels over here. And for this next page, also really cool backgrounds. They made this panel bigger and took out these panels. So yeah, this Sarah Bazzini is just kind of catching her up, and then she asks Aspen, what do you remember? So Aspen's going over the story. This is, I guess, if a reader comes in the middle of the comic to get all caught up to where they're doing. And while she's going through her flashback of what she remembers, we get Laura Croft coming in here and taking these guys out. And she also goes over that these guys are like normal. They're almost like humans, but they can breathe underwater, so they can't just turn into water. I'm assuming that they're explaining that because people probably wonder, like, how come they just don't turn to water if she shoots them? It's like, I guess they can't. Some can, some can't. All right, and then Fathom, Aspen, she got shot with these darts, got put out. So then Sarah Bazzini takes over what she remembers. She's trying to drag Fathom out. She couldn't use her powers because in the previous issue, she was explaining how her Witchblade stuff is getting harder to control. Sometimes it doesn't do what she wants. And I'm guessing they use that to, kind of slow the story down, so it does not like these two superpowered people just kick everyone's butt. And then yeah, so she's telling her part, and then Laura Croft is still going through and just taking people out, being super badass, sneaky, and all that. And then Sarah Pazzini remembers this Barana guy. He knocked them both out, or well, Sarah out. Aspen was already knocked out, but he knocks her out through hitting her with a bunch of water, I guess. And this was really cool. Okay, well, I'll get to that part, but so it looks like, okay, so this reflection in Aspen's eye is of this panel. So I'm assuming that this is the right now what's happening, and she's looking at her captors. Because I mean, that's how it is. They're going from the flashback to this, or maybe this is also still in a little bit of the flashback one. But that would, I don't know, that kind of puzzles me a little bit because she's waking up right here, unless she was still kind of awake when they put her in that those shackling, that this water type shackling or whatever. She was like awake while they were shackling her up, or if this is right now. Anyway, that's slightly confusing to me. I'll mention that in the next pages. But what I did like about this, which I thought was cool, well, for one, to tell stories in these sliver panels seems like a tough undertaking. But Laura Croft, so she's watching these guys as they're carrying her off. And what I thought was really cool was each of these what do you call it, sunglass lenses is like another panel. So it's like the one panel looking at Laura, and then this panel of them walking off, and then this panel of them, still walking off. It just seems like, she got three panels in one, or he got three panels in one. I thought that was kind of cool. I'll probably take that and put that in one of my stories. If you see that in one of my pages, you'll know where I got it from. This is a cool double page spread. I don't really care for double page. Whoops. I don't really care for double page spreads, but this is about this. I mean, this is cool to me. I don't mind it because it just cuts through the hand in this boot part. That's fine. Nothing really important there. This is an awesome pose though, of for a lot of reasons, I guess. I don't know that from what I could, I mean, I find it cool, and then for the reasons that I can consciously say, I guess, is the all the cool creases in the clothing, and it's like very detailed in there. Like he's got the seam here, and he's adds extra little lines. Of course, the guns, he's got them down pretty well. The texturing on the straps and her knee pads, the cool facial expression. So her head isn't just straight up and down; it's tilted off center from her shoulders. Her knee is coming in front of her arms. There, her other arms are coming in front of her back leg, and then the foreshortening on this boot. It's just in all the details on it. Like I don't know how long this took. It's just really cool. I really like it, and I know, not to mention the background. It looks like it's you could feel the 3D effectness of it. Um, and yeah, of course, Peter Steigerwald's colors help bring it to life. I'm not just overlooking that. Uh, it's cool. He did the glow of the suit here, and then the darker colors to help encapsulate her as the focal point. Anyway, really cool stuff. Um, and then over here, this was slightly confusing to me because these guys were in the spheres. Those, I'll bring it back here one more page, right there. Okay, so yeah, both of the dead guy and then Cannon, they were in these spheres, and so okay, so now he's out of the circle, but I thought she needed Aspen to drain her of her powers to get this guy fully back. And then the sphere stuff are here, but I don't know, is Cannon in there? It doesn't look like he's in there on this panel, unless it's a really big whatever. Anyway, she's saying, go get the other female, Aspen, and then these guys come over like, oh, hey, our guys are down. Someone's been shooting them, I guess. And that's when Laura comes in. It's a small panel. It looks very simple, but this looks like really cool. Like you put a lot of detail in there. The outlining for the creases on her outfit, her foot here just going in front of the other foot, her hips slightly angled, and he really went in and dug out the details for the guns and the hands holding them. Not to mention the bag behind her that she's carrying. That's really cool. I love that shot, and again the background he's putting in. I'm sure that this came easy to him for the background, but I mean you still have to go in and dig out all the details from this, and that each line takes time. It's a lot of lines. Another cool panel of her shooting at these guys, because obviously they're not gonna just let her take off with Cannon. And man, Cannon just looks like he wants to get put out of his misery. Like maybe he wants her to shoot him. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't, of course, but he looks in rough shape. Okay, so then this chick is almost like amused that she's even trying to stop her. She stops the bullets, no problem. And then Barana, it's cool foreshortening here that he's shooting at Lara Croft. This is a cool panel shot. I think there was another one I wanted to. Yeah, this one right here. That's a really good and hard angle to pull off for that. It's like a more than a 3/4 angle. I'd guess like if I were doing fractions, like a 15th, 16th shot. I don't know. But it's also coming up at an angle, or else her head is tilted. Either way, that's pretty difficult shot, and it looks awesome. There was another shot when I was looking through issue 11 here of a face angle like that. Bring it up to the camera a little bit. it's this one of Fathom where it's the same thing. I mean, she's looking the other direction, but it's like, you know, more than a 3/4 shot, and it's a little bit of an upshot, or her head is tilted away from the camera a little bit, and like those aren't easy to do. I mean, maybe if you did them a million times, but they it was really cool. I like how he added it of whoops, bumped the camera there. I like how he added a camera angle perspective shot that, you know, I don't normally see in comic books. All right, so we go back to the girls here that are in captivity. And then another thing I wanted to point out was all those shots of Sarah Pazzini and Aspen Matthews when they were doing the. Wait, I'll go one more page. Okay, when they're doing all this catch-up stuff, all these panels. So in this comic, it just it skips all those and it goes right to this scene where Cannon is looking pretty rough. And they also see they switch the pages. Like Cannon's on the left side of this page, and then these guys are on the right. So now it's these guys are on the left side and Cannon's on the right, and they adjusted the story a bit so they could take out Laura Croft, obviously. I just wanted to point that out again. Of like I didn't pick up on any of that. Like, what, it feels like there's something missing. They did a really good job of writing. So how they get out is she's able to finally get a little bit control of her witchblade. It breaks their shackles or whatever, and then they hear someone coming. They're like, "Oh no, get ready!" They're about to ready to use both their powers right on the bottom panel, and it's Laura. And Laura helps them break out. Come on, we got to get out of here because now people know that they're missing. And Aspen Matthews is like, "Wait, we can't just leave. We need to help out. What's his name? Cannon." And Laura's like, "Well, we will, but we got to, come out here and recoup, decide, how to come up with a plan, so they're not inside getting chased by these guys." This is the last page. That's cool. The Aurora Borealis there, the Northern Lights. I used to see them all the time when I was a kid where I lived. So real quick, I just wanted to go over so they went over this part pretty quick. They had a lot to cut out. So they cut out a lot of this was their escape scene right there. And they just kind of cropped them out and put her by herself in those. And same thing with this scene where they're walking away. They just put her here by herself. Looks like they redrew. Yeah, it looks like they kind of kept that background, but then they redrew Aspen by herself there. Oh, and another thing I wanted to point out was that in her bag she brought these guys coats. She says that they're kind of thin coats, but better than nothing. And Aspen's like, "I can regulate my temperature. It'll be enough. That little coat will be enough to tell me about Cannon." But anyway, so this is her. She could regulate her temperature. I mean, she could turn into water. Like, no matter where the water is, she could turn into water. Like, she could turn into Arctic water. Arctic water is freezing, but she could do that and be fine. She won't freeze. So, like, I don't even know why she needs a coat. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm sure it's comics, whatever. And then, yeah, that page just goes right there. And then these guys that are on it right here, they're taken out. And it's supposed to be this, I imagine it's supposed to be like Fathom's point of view, where she gets out and she's like, "Where the hell am I?" But for this story, this version of it, it's Laura Croft is saying these people have a lot to answer for. And so we got the finale coming up. This is a little different. I didn't notice it in the last issue. For the letters page, it looks like there's 2 letters pages. Like, yeah, at the end of issue 1 here is Renee Gerlings. She's the editor for this letters page. But now Peter Steigerwald has like a letters page. People are writing him letters. I don't know if did people just write him letters and then he's starting to build up a collection, so they decided to give him a section. No idea. But it is pretty cool. He's also running a contest of you could win like 7 covers of this comic book Inferno that they had coming out. That was supposed to be a big deal, and they were going to be autographed and signed, or numbered and signed by Silvestri and other artists. And there was going to be a print, and I think that there was it said 10 limited edition sets of art prints. So I think they were going to do 10 you were like, they were picking 2 winners per month, so it sounds like it was going to be about 5 months of picking 2 winners each. How you win is you try to come up with a new way to advertise for like Top Cow Comics. An example in here was something like putting a sign up in your yard, I think. It says, be ingenious. Putting up a sign in your front house is nice and all, but I'm looking for interesting, exciting, or just plain quirky and smart. Surprise me. Surprise your neighborhood. Be witty. Be weird. Get noticed. I'll award 2 winners each month starting in February. I'll be giving away the higher numbers first and count backwards. Well, anyway, that seems pretty cool and fun way to try to drum up more interest in comic books. This was back in 2000. But anyway, yeah, so Peter's got his own section here. And more of these letters, they're all just kind of like saying how a lot of them seem kind of like flirtatious towards Renee Gerlings. Or I don't know if a lot of the letters do. It's easy to imagine that like a lot of letters would, because Renee's like attractive and she's in comics, and there's like not very many girls in comics, so of course you get a lot of attention. Either that, or else I was thinking like maybe she's just picking out the only letters where they are like someone like this, like, hey there cowgirl, is talking to Renee. And in this, it's funny too, because in this issue at the end, there was a guy reading Renee Gerling's poetry. He made a poem after her, and then there was this interview. I mean, this girl seen an interview of Michael Turner where one of the questions were from a girl telling Michael Turner to take his shirt off. And so there's some more letters. This guy, he writes a new version of that. That guy's name was Mac Wright. He kind of redid the same poem that guy did. And his name's Jeremy. And then someone else mentioned, this guy, he mentions how that the letter talking about the interview with Michael Turner, where the girl was asking him to take his shirt off. He mentioned that in here, and I just thought that was funny. These guys it's just kind of like a late chat room to each other, but because they're in letters, so they talk to each other months later. And then also found out that man, this was off by 2 years. This because in this letter, this Jess Mead, she wrote in, I guess she became a regular on their message boards, is what Renee Gerling says here. This letter was written back in 2000, and this book came out in 2002. So this was when between these books, and they're doing that comic signing tours, when Turner got diagnosed with cancer and had to go through his chemotherapy, which is it's really unfortunate. It sucks. So a lot of these guys' letters were waiting for a couple of years. And she starts it off about like, yeehaw. She's very excited because they're back, and Michael Turner has 100% bill of clean health. They're all excited about getting these comics out now, and the excitement is all back up again. This it was supposed to be a summer event. This one came out in June. It's supposed to be April, but I guess Renee Gerlings talks on here about how she has to get on these guys about hitting their deadlines. But and then this one came out, it says February, but it comes out in January of 2002. So it's cool that he was able to get back to doing what he loves and making comic books and like really good comics at this time too. Also to mention, Talent Caldwell helped out with the pencil assist. It says, I imagine he did a lot of the like roughing in, if not finishing the background stuff. Um, and another thing in the interview I forgot to mention was he was excited to show off the new tech and new like guns and stuff. So like this is like the new tech for this type of it's a slightly different race of the underwater people. So they had that's why they got the spiky hair and stuff. They're all like a little bit different. They kind of look like that this terrorist guy uh, in the first 9 issues. Like he looked slightly different than all the rest of the characters. They still did not name the race of the underwater people. But when this book came out, they, as far as I know, they call them the Blue. In later issues, and also this villain's name is Vanna, which is Hawaiian for sea urchin, is what that interview said. Steigerwald told that to Michael, so he used it. Pretty cool stuff. Oh, all right, this is the last one. Oh, and it's weird too, because like I remember in the other letters section, the kid, this one kid says he's 12. This girl says she's 15. I think there's someone else in here who's like in high school. But yeah, so this was 26 years ago. So those guys are all in their like later 30s, early 40s now. That's just weird to think about. I mean, that's what I am, but it just feels like this stuff wasn't that long ago. 2002. It's like I think I was graduating high school that year. All right. So this letter says, "Dear Renee, before I begin, let me say how beautiful you are, unfathomably so." It's kind of clever. I know everyone else professes it constantly and in every mail you get, but I think you'll see by the end of this letter my tastes are more discerning than most, and therefore my judgments have more weight. You should be trademarked because you are unique and irreplaceable. Top Cow should be glad to have you. Another person Top Cow and Michael Turner should be glad to have is your colorist, Peter Steigerwald. I hope I spelled it right. Parentheses, he says it. He is, unsimply put, it's all caps, most fantastical, richly paleted, subtly textured, broadest colorist out there. There is no one else who can even come close. No slight to Top Cow's other powerhouse colorists. You people have the best colors in the business, but by far is the colors on Fathom. I've seen some of Michael's originals, and I can say without a doubt the art wouldn't be the same without him. Sure, the inker and the penciler get all the credit. I've even heard other fans compliment Michael as if he did all the work himself, from blank page to printed book. But I think people should realize how much Mr. Steigerwald does and he doesn't get credit for. All of his design work and logos are spectacular. His credits page for Fathom, which no one ever mentions, is just perfect. Yeah, I guess he's like the graphic designer for all this stuff. Like, I don't think it's just on this book either. I think it was on like a lot of books. But all right. And then he says, quietly beautiful and contemplative, it unevocably captures the mood of Fathom and the reverence for the ocean this book has. I met him once at a con, and he is quite and extremely modest. No one to brag about never one to brag about his talent. I feel someone must say something. Most of your letters talk about the art of Michael Turner and the plot, but this one fan who has waited breathlessly for the return of Fathom solely to see what new colored worlds emerge from the pages. I hope 13 lives up to all my expectations. Sincerely, P.S. Los Angeles, California. Um, so yeah, Peter Steigerwald. And then Renee responds, why does something smell fishy here? Fishy in Hawaiian. Yes, Mr. P.S. I too am a big fan of Peter Steigerwald's work. He's done some beautiful paintings for me, and I'm still waiting for my daisy on the field of grass to put over my couch. Ahem. But knowing Peter, he'll get to it in his own time. Now, if he only would be nicer to me in his moose section. So Fathom 14 will be the conclusion of this big crossover. Then we start the next big story arc in 15. Then all caps, we are back. I can hear Mike singing right about now. Funk Soul Brother, right about now. Ha! I missed you guys. Renee. Yeah, Fatboy Slim. I forgot that was a pretty big monster hit of a song with Funk Soul Brother that was like played on MTV all the time. And Turner included it in one of the last comics, a couple comics ago, I think. But yeah, I wonder if Peter Steigerwald ever did that painting for Daisy on a field of grass, because I think after, I mean, I guess I'll find out, but I think after issue 14 of this is when they broke off and did their own thing, and which I mean, there was like everybody seemed to be clamoring for Mike Steigerwald. I mean, uh, Liefeld. I think he wanted Mike to come and work with him, and in one of the wizards that I got recently, trying to find Michael Turner's basic training. Uh, I was trying to find this. So this is a collection of wizards basic how to draw basic trainings, and I remember a lot of these from looking at the wizards, and I was just wondering which wizard magazine had this section of Michael Turner's drawings. So I was trying to find those. I haven't found it yet. Maybe it's not even in a wizard and just for that collection alone. But I did find some articles where people talk about Michael, and one of them was also Jim Lee said Jim Lee was trying to get Michael to join the Cliffhanger. I don't know, what do you call it, publication or something, when there was the J. Scott Campbell with his Danger Girl, Humberto Ramos with that vampire comic, and Joe Madureira with his Battle Chasers. So he wanted, it's in the Wizard magazine, it said he wanted Turner to come over there too. So everybody was after Michael Turner, and I guess they decided, him and some of his friends from Top Cow decided to break off and make their own publication company, Fathom, Aspen Studios. And so yeah, anyway, I think it was after the next issue of this, in issue 14. But all right, that's everything. Thanks for checking this out. Everybody have a great day. Oh, and I'll leave the link for my comic in the description.